Hi everyone. In this video, I'd like to talk about heat map visuals, which use color intensity to represent data values. This makes it easier to quickly identify patterns, trends, and potential problem areas. Before we create the report, let's briefly review how to retrieve data from a web API and how to use mQuery in Microsoft Power BI. We'll analyze traffic incidents in Calgary, Alberta, Canada, which I also used in my previous videos. The dataset comes from the city's open data portal and contains more than 60,000 rows. First, we'll get the web API endpoint for this dataset. From the website, open the Actions drop-down menu and select API Endpoint. Then choose the CSV data format and SOTA2 option. Finally, copy the generated link. Next, in our Power BI file, go to Get Data Web. Paste the API endpoint link into the dialog box and click OK. Let's load the data into Power BI and rename the table to something meaningful. Let's call it Calgary Incident. However, when we look at the table view, we can see that only 1,000 rows were imported into Power BI. That's because Secretabase portals, like data.calgary.ca, return only 1,000 rows by default unless you explicitly ask for more. So, how do we bring in the entire dataset into Power BI? Let's see the end code for this query and copy the code. Now let's make use of ChatGPT for a suggested solution. For example, we could ask how to fetch all the rows if I only fetch 1,000 rows based on the following M code of Power BI. There are several ways to fix this, but the simplest one is to add a $limit parameter to the URL. We can copy the suggested M code and replace our original one. To do that, open Power Query Editor, select the Calgary Incident table, then click Advanced Editor. Paste the updated code in place of the original one, and click Done. If we don't need all 1 million rows, we can just set the limit to 60,000 and click Done again. Now, when we select Close and Apply, Power BI will import all rows of the Calgary Incident table. Now let's see how to use heat map visuals in a Power BI report. Based on the Calgary Incident data, we've created a report that includes a card, a line chart, and a clustered column chart. In this section, we want to add a heat map to show the frequency of incidents across the city. There are several ways to create heat maps in Power BI, including the Map Visual, Azure Maps, and ArcGIS for Power BI. However, I often prefer using a heat map visual for MapSource. To install it, we need to sign into Power BI. From Get More Visuals, we can browse different apps. Some apps are free, while others may require payment. Search for Heat Map and select the visual called Heat Map. This page shows an example of the visual, and I like its style. Click Add to import it into the visualization pane. Now click the heat map icon, and drag the latitude and longitude columns from the Calgary Incident table into the corresponding fields in the visualization pane. We can now clearly see the density of traffic incidents across the city. However, you may notice a banner indicating a credentials issue. This happens because the Bing Maps for Enterprise Basic account was shut down on June 30th, 2025. To continue using it, you will need a paid enterprise license. Hopefully, the developer will replace Bing Maps with another base map provider in the near future. Alternatively, we can use ArcGIS for Power BI, which we discussed in the previous video. Click the ArcGIS icon to replace the heat map, then drag the count field under size. Next, zoom into Calgary and choose a base map, such as Street View. From the Layer Symbology options, we can change the visualization type to heat map. We can also collapse the map tools here or close them from the formatting pane to display more map area. From this report, we can already gain several insights. For example, we can see that many traffic accidents occur along Highway 2, and Glenmore Trail, based on the heat map. In total, there have been about 60,000 incidents over the past 10 years. We can also see that there are relatively more incidents in the southeast and northeast areas compared to the southwest and northwest. From the line chart, we can see that 2019 and 2020 had relatively fewer traffic incidents. This may be explained by reduced driving during the pandemic, as many people work from home. The number of incidents peaks in 2022, which might reflect increased driving activity after the pandemic. Meanwhile, 2016 and 2026 contain incomplete data in the dataset. This example shows how data visualization helps us interpret raw data and tell a meaningful story. That wraps up today's lesson on using heat maps and color intensity to identify patterns and trends. In the next video, we'll talk about Power BI report formatting, which helps make reports clear, attractive, and actionable, so users can quickly understand the data and make better decisions. Thank you very much for watching. If you found this video helpful and would like to see more lessons like this, don't forget to subscribe to the channel to support our work and stay up to date with future content. See you in the next video.